Bo, connection's a big theme for this program, and as a leader on this team with so many new faces, what's been the process of trying to get everybody on the same page over the course of this offseason so you can kind of hit the ground running Wednesday?
Yeah, well, like you said, a lot of new faces, a lot of new guys at the program, and we just wanted to have a good offseason, work hard together, see each other work, do a lot of tough things in the offseason, and that's when you, I guess, connect the most is in the offseason right before the season, and then up here in the summer, being around each other all the time, and then, going through fall camp. It's important for us to have a good fall camp, to be around each other and to continue to make that connection that we have already built, and then, make some more with others. A lot of new faces here that just got here from, in the summer, new freshmen, and we're excited to have those guys, excited to, incorporate them in our culture, and, each and every one of them have a role on our team, and it's up to us and the leadership and up to them to kind of find that role and start fitting in it so that we can connect even more.
Zach Neal, Duckswire. After spending an offseason with Will Stein, what are some of the differences between him and Kenny Dillingham, and how's that relationship between you and him continue to grow?
Well, I think we from the get-go, from the time we got here, we have a great relationship. We've really done a good job, kind of from the bottom, and just started at the relationship part and just try to get to know each other as humans, and then maybe I'll pick his brain from an offensive play caller's point of view, and you can't expect him to be the same as Coach Dillingham. They're two different people, but I'm excited to be around him. He provides a lot of good things. He does a lot of things that I'm comfortable with, and then he's going to provide some new things that he's going to teach me, and we're going to be able to run and incorporate. So I'm excited about it. I think we got a lot of good talent coming back, anticipating great things for us on offense.
Bo, because of your position, you've had to talk about this upcoming year a lot, whether it be from why you came back to coaches changing to new recruits to scheduling. What's it like actually being in a place where you're going to practice this week and you can kind of put at least that kind of the build up to this behind you?
Well, I'm excited to get rolling and get practicing again, because that's why we're all here, just get us on the football field, and I feel like that's where we're going to make our biggest strides. And as a team, we all kind of feel the same way. We've had a long off season. We've anticipated a lot, and now that it's here, we get to finally go out there and just play some ball. And that's what I'm excited about, practicing every day, going out there and making throws again, running around, having a good time, moving the ball down the field, practicing with the guys, competing against the defense. And fall camp's really a time to where it's right around the corner. So you got to get ready, you got to prepare quickly, but you got a little bit of time here to kind of iron out all the things that you need to get going, and to where once you get to the season, you can do what you're comfortable with, do what you're good at, and let everybody just do their job and do what they're good at.
Eric Scopel, 24/7. Dan just said that the role of the backup is to make sure he can enter a game if he needs to and win. What's your role in making sure those backups are ready for that, and what's your confidence level that that'll be the case?
Well, I think as a quarterback room, each and every one of us got to prepare like we're the starter. I've always thought that. And, at the same time as we're preparing like we're the starter, we all got to compete like we're the backup or like we're the third or fourth string. Going in, I was actually thinking about this today. Going in, it's a competition again. It's every day is a competition, a healthy competition. We're trying to get better ourselves, but help each other out as we go. Ty may see something that he teaches me. I may see something that I teach Austin. And, it's just we're all on the same team. We're all, motivated to do the same thing, and that's for whatever we got to do to win games. And, we talk about it all the time as a group. We got to embrace our purpose, embrace our roles as we are. And, whatever that may be, we're going to embrace them and grow. And, I think it's a big, important thing for the quarterback room especially, is just to compete all the time. If I can compete against myself, obviously using, externally those guys, kind of compete against them, but, internally compete against myself, I think that's the best thing that I can do at this point in my career. And, as those guys continue to grow and develop themselves, they're still young, still got a lot of football ahead of them. And, it's exciting to watch those guys do it and exciting to be, play a role in their lives.
Bo, when Coach Lanning talks about this idea of going from good to great, how do you plan on specifically applying that in your game and in your life on and off the field this season?
Yeah, that's a good question. First off, on the field, it's being, the steady leader that the offense needs. It's, similar to what it was last year. It was doing what I did last year, but at a higher, even better scale, and figuring that out as I go. What areas can I, go from where I was good and then where I was, capable, and now is like one of my strengths. And where can I go to where my weaknesses aren't my weaknesses anymore? Where can I go to where my strengths are now elite and they're at the top? I think that as a player and as an evaluator, as an individual, you got to look at yourself and kind of figure those things out. And that's why you got practice and you got a whole camp to really look those in the mirror and figure out what they are. And there's a lot of things to where, I feel like we're as a quarterback specifically right there, really close. And now it's just using the camp, using practice to do those in practice so that you can turn around and do them in the game. And it's a feeling comfortable with it and knowing that you can do it and the guys knowing that you can do it, and knowing that the guys are going to be there and all that kind of stuff. It all plays a role, and I'm excited to, go into it again knowing those things and, understanding it and having a, an outlook and having a big picture goal in mind.
On the left here, Alec, I
believe. Alec Dietz, registered guard. Bo, a lot of new guys in the wide receiver room this year. Obviously, you were new last year. With that experience last year, kind of coming in and having to build up that chemistry quickly, what did you kind of learn from that to do that this year with a lot of new guys in that room?
Last year, being the new guy, it was, a little bit more worried about yourself and just make sure you're doing the right thing, make sure the guys see you doing the right thing and see you working hard, seeing you do extra, but not only just seeing it, it's like you're that I'm willing to do it or that I want to do it, and then they see that and it kind of carries over. But now I can't change. I got to be the same person, and just continue to work harder and harder, and have those guys follow. And then as those new guys get going, as they start to figure themselves out and start to figure out their role on the team, it's now okay. How can I incorporate those guys into a bigger picture, and how can I get those guys on another level that they may know that they can get to, they just kind of need help getting to. And it's tough when you got new guys, you got to kind of speed up the relationship process a little bit. You only get, in our case, we'll have 365 days just within a year to get to know each other and to go out there and win football games together. And it's doable. A lot of teams, a lot of other players have done it in the past. It's just figuring out those little things. Trust and transparency is a really important thing. When they trust you, they'll do anything for you. And I feel like as a quarterback, and that's kind of my job, is to build that trust, to build the chemistry, so that when we go out there on a field in a fourth quarter, when we're playing a tough opponent, we don't really have to worry about is this guy going to be there, or can I count on this guy to give effort, or all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of what I practice with this guy each day. I know what he's like as a person. I know what drives him, and so I know what I'm going to get out of him. And that's huge, and that's how, honestly, going back, that's how you can go from good to great. You can go from, that trust and that relationship level, and all of a sudden you're winning games in the fourth quarter, and you're doing it in a cool way because you're all kind of going in the same direction.
Hey, Bob. Jared Mack, 24/7 Sports. A lot of returning defenders over spring camp said that they saw marked improvement from year one to year two in Tosh Lupoy's defense. Just where did you see it from a quarterback's perspective, and how do you think that they'll improve over the 2023 season?
Well, I think, they definitely have, added some new pieces. You got new guys all over the field. It feels like a lot of really good talent. A lot of guys playing in their strengths, a lot of guys where they're, capable of making a lot of plays. And, as far as scheme goes, they're always adapting, always finding ways to get better. And, he is an extremely hard worker, extremely good coach, has been around a lot. He's got a lot of, experience at that role. And then, he's going to dial it up and, do whatever they can to, be the best defense they can be. And saw that in spring. Obviously with a new system, you got a lot of the guys that have been here a little bit more familiar with it, not having to relearn things. So you're having players on the field that can teach new guys some stuff, and it's not just the coaches that are teaching. So you have more teachers and you have more coaches out there, and that's a good thing. That's an important thing. And same way on offense. When you know what's going on, you can teach other guys. And I truly believe our second year in, a lot of guys that have been here last year kind of understand a little bit, more of what the expectation is, what the standard is, and so we can implement that. And it's not just, Coach Lanning or the coaches kind of, telling us, how we should do things or the way we should do things. Now we understand the standard and can communicate that ourselves. And from a defensive standpoint, that's exactly what they've done.
Hey, Bo. Joe Freeman with the Oregonian. When you look at Trayshawn Holden, what have you seen, behind the scenes the last few weeks out of him, and how would you assess what he's going to bring to that position for you?
Yeah, well, Trayshawn's a very competitive guy, very fiery. He takes ball very seriously. He plays with a lot of passion. And, just my time with him so far, been impressed with his, his ability to go out there and, compete and, at a high level and always bring that drive, always bring that will to compete. Because at the end of the day, that's a lot of playing receiver. It's how bad do I want the ball? And he's a go-getter. He'll go get the ball. He runs really good routes, really good in one-on-one situations. Strong guy, dependable. He's played a lot of football himself, so excited to have him.
Hey, Bo. Bill Oram with the Oregonian. If you could distill this down to one moment, what was your favorite memory from last season?
Well, there was a lot of them. A favorite moment from last year was probably, as simple as it was, playing my first game in Autzen and enjoying the atmosphere, enjoying the crowd, throwing some touchdowns to guys that, some of their first time, being in, playing a key role in a game, some of those younger guys. I just think about that game, how much fun it was. I think the newness of it was what was, I think, the most fun about it. It's just like I'd never experienced it before, and now I was doing it as a player. So I didn't even have the fan, expectations or anything like that. So I just got the full effect as a player. But then you can go into the Washington State comeback, UCLA game, Utah, North Carolina. I mean, there was a lot of fun moments. It was a fun year.
Going into this year with a new offensive line, obviously you had spring and an offseason to kind of gel and create relationships with them, but what are things that you're looking for over these next few weeks? What are the things that you can't know until you get into fall camp and until you get into the game situation with them?
Well, at the end of the day, I don't think you, with new experienced guys, you can't really tell exactly how they're going to mesh until you face another opponent. Got a lot of guys that have played a lot of snaps, but they've not necessarily played together, and I think that was what, last year was so intriguing about the guys is they played so much together. So they knew calls, they knew, little communication methods they had that was, just from experience and from playing. So over the next few weeks, throughout the season, we got to figure out those guys, how they communicate, how they, audible, and how they connect and communicate calls and how they talk. That's an important thing for an O-line, and it's important to be familiar with each other. And I think as fall camp goes, they'll become more and more familiar.
James Creppy with the Oregonian. Bo, for all you've done in college, you have not had a 1,000-yard receiver since high school with Tez. What will be different about this season where at least one of your guys might be able to do it, whether it be Tez or Troy or Trayshawn or Chris? why will you have a 1,000-yard receiver this season, and who do you think is most capable of breaking that for you?
Well, I think they're all capable. I don't think that's the question. I think they're all capable. I think they're all, ready for their opportunity. It's just going to come down to, I think, situational football situation and, which guy gets the targets and which guy gets the explosive plays and the yak. And, like I said, they're all capable of doing that. I didn't realize there hadn't been one, especially in my time, because I feel like I've had some really talented guys. And I think it's just a tribute to, spreading the ball around and moving it around. But at the same time, each guy, especially this year, is going to have their own strengths. And so it's going to be situationally, who gets those opportunities, who makes the most out of them, and, how can we get those guys the ball and make, opportunities for them, get them open, throw them open, call plays for them, and, get the ball to the hot hand, that's a basketball saying, but, it plays a lot in football too. I think some of those backs out of the backfield will have a lot of completions too, and so I just think it's just using everybody. And, one of them will probably do it.
Last question, Tyson.
With you and Coach Lanning getting here more or less at the same time, what have you seen from him over the last 18 months that just his growth with the team, the program, or even this community that makes everyone seem so sure that he's the coach of the future here, talking of his contract extension?
Well, I think he's extremely competitive and he wants to win. And, I think that's the most important thing. I think he just he's going to do whatever he can, whatever he's willing to do to go win games. And I think he knows that's most important. And, especially in the game now, winning games is vital to success of programs and recruiting and guys that you got on campus already. And, I've just seen I guess a determination to win, whatever necessary, whatever he's got to do to go out there and win football games. I'm kind of the same way. I'm very competitive, and so, I appreciate that out of, our head coach, because at the end of the day, that's what I want. So if we're all moving in the same direction, doing whatever we can to win, I feel strong that we're going to get that done and we're going to win a lot of games. Thank you all. I appreciate it.